sent home. The loser of this game will either take us to match 5 if Mad Lions can find a way to force the Silver Scrapes, or it'll be Mad Lions who are sent packing back here to the LEC empty-handed at the hands of Supermassive, as we're now into the next ban phase. Blue side for Mad Lions. You heard it from Amazing on the desk. They can't just triple ban Humanoid out this game from the side of Supermassive without paying any kind of price.
So the last time Mad Lions were on blue side, it was Nidalee, Hecarim, and Azir as the 3 bans. So we saw the power of the Azir, not necessarily in Balulu really showing off, but how it unlocked the rest of the map for his team with the power that it had in the mid lane to constantly keep Humanoid kind of locked underneath his tower. And
they don't care. They don't care about meta power. This is the biggest call out I've ever seen. They say, we literally don't care about the meta tier list. You have one player that we are concerned about, and it's Humanoid in the mid lane. And Arome knows what he has to do. He has to pick the Ornn, and he has to hope that that's going to be enough to carry his team to victory, because they took everything away from his mid laner, so if he doesn't show up, he knows who it's on this game.
And now the question is, what is going to be the response? The big, powerful junglers like the Graves and Lilia are still open, so you don't have to immediately show your hand unless you know that that's the power pick that you want. We had a wonderful performance from Kakao last game in our Hunter versus Bambi matchup. Will Shadow grab the Graves here? Will he pivot to something else? It's do or die. You can kind of see it on his face. He's been under so much scrutiny and so much pressure to perform. He's the big name that everyone is just really grabbing hold of if Mad Lions fall here. So much weight and responsibility on this, and he opts into the Graves.
And Humanoid has to be sweating on this one because he knows he can pick the Syndra. He can probably set himself up for a strong early lane matchup, but it might not be enough. And now as he locks in the Ezreal for Carzzy to once again set Carzzy up for success this time around, something that we know that people have been waiting to see. No more Senna Wukong, no more Senna period here on the bottom side. It does, however, expose Humanoid to 2 more potential mid lane bans. We'll have to see how hard Supermassive want to go. I think they've done enough, but maybe they want to take it even further here.
A 5-man ban strategy now. You have a couple different options here. You can grab a power pick like a Shin. You can pick up your 8 carry here if you would like. Flex pick would be interesting. The set obviously can go into the mid lane as well as the top lane position.
Strong matchup into Ornn. Of course, Set has received some decent hits on his base damages, scales. Some of the base damage taken away, some of the scaling increase, so he needs to build a bit more AD to hit hard. Could do some decent work into the Ornn matchup. Ornn's W does make it difficult for Set to find a solid ultimate. But as we've seen from this series so far, the matchup hasn't mattered too much, as Armored seems to always have Arome's number. But the Syndra now banned away, and we might just see 5 bans leveled at Humanoid. Surely a sign of respect, but if it means losing the game, it's not going to be one he's happy about.
I mean, what's the final ban? Do you take away... Yep, I was going to say, do you take away the Zoe? He's got LeBlanc left, but he's going to have to reach real deep into the pit. And even then, you know, Supermassive are on red side. That's still a flex pick. We expect it to be a set top. You can still hide it.
Yeah, one of the big issues as well is that if he does go for the LeBlanc into Kakao, anytime that mark is on him, anytime that passive is ticking away, it's really difficult for him to leap forward. Delayed CC normally seen as a weakness, normally seen as something that makes the CC less immediately impactful, but for Kakao, as long as that passive is up, ticking on a champion like the LeBlanc, he has the potential to lock him up, and it means that LeBlanc can never 100% fully commit for a combo without being punished, as now the Scion's going to get locked in, and now I have questions?
I have a lot of
questions.
Set
mids? Oh, wow. Set mid. It has to be set mid.
It is. But the thing is you could have picked your 80 carry here and then given yourself the counter matchup. Either Balulu feels that he's pushed him far enough down that he knows what he's expecting, or this champion's just really pivotal to this composition.
And the thing is now we have a huge source of carry potential coming in from the mid lane. Both the carries that you want to see enabled, Humanoid and Carzzy, are set up, even if it's not their priority option. But to be honest, the Cassio doesn't really get to mitigate a lot with the Miasma this game, and now the All-Star coming in as well. So we've talked about throwing Hail Marys, we've talked about Mad Lions from behind in game, willing to do so, and now it feels like they're throwing a Hail Mary here in draft to find the win. A lot of individual agency in this draft, but they have to execute flawlessly.
Now, one of the things that Supermassive were kind of missing on their composition was more hard engage. Obviously, you have the Leona ultimate, you have the Sleep, Set ult, but you know, it's not like an Ornn ultimate or something like that. I would have liked to have seen something like an Ashe. Oh no.
Ooh. We are going to witness one of 2 things. We're going to witness a game where Supermassive walk away and said, okay, we were a little cocky, we were a little confident, maybe we shouldn't have picked the Vayne there. or we're going to watch a game where Supermassive wiped the floor with Mad Lions and cement the TCL as a world-class region. I mean,
now we have it revealed why Balulu and Armut had to take the bullet of revealing their champions first. Zeitnot was trying to get a full perspective on what was going to be the best AD carry to pick into the situation if he felt that he could get away with taking the Vayne. Now, Vayne has been buffed up in recent patches. I believe some attack damage done to her ultimate. We'll cover that as it goes into the game, especially if we see her in the final hour. But obviously, laning against a Alistar and an Ezreal, even with the phase rush, Vayne should actually have a pretty good time as long as those Qs don't start chaining together and connecting onto her, especially because she'll itemize into lifesteal anyway, so she'll be able to compete with the poke damage and walk herself into a very strong mid and late game.
And again, good adaptation coming in from Supermassive in the draft, showing us a way to punish a lane with as limited lane pressure, let's say, as an Ezreal Alistar. Vayne in the past has been considered a solid option into weaker early lanes, and now we have to see if it's going to be enough for Supermassive to find the win. Reminder, it is match point. Supermassive 1 game away from eliminating the 4th seed from the LEC from Worlds 2020. Mad Lions need to find a way to claw their way back to take us to Game 5 in Silver Scrapes, or they will find themselves going home.
Of course, the 2 players that we're going to be looking at on the side of the Mad Lions is going to be Humanoid and Carzzy on these big power picks like the Cassiopeia as well as the Ezreal to carry this one through kind of the rock so far of Mad Lions, where other individual performers have been up and down. On the other side, Supermassive. I mean, they looked so crisp and clean in the last game. Kakao putting on a masterclass with this Lilia isn't going to have the same priority in the mid lane that an Azir can grant him this time around. It is the set, so we'll see how that changes his jungle pathing and if he's under any more pressure in this jungle in the matchup.
And have to see, obviously, spending 5 bans on the Humanoid. See if it works out for Supermassive. The first 3 felt valid. We'll see if the second 2 actually secured them the matchup that they were looking for. Phase rush on Balulu means if he ever really gets ahead in this matchup, it should be easy for him and Kakao to shut Humanoid down. But the sheer amount of damage potential that can come out from a Cassio is always a bit intimidating. As we check in on bot side, you can see press the attack, as well as it appears to be Legend Alacrity. So no Legend Bloodline. Looks like it's confirming the fact what you mentioned earlier, Proscurrent, about early Blade of the Rune King as a priority here and not a crit item.
And obviously the big thing of the Nimbus Cloak as well as the Gathering Storm and the scaling potential there. Nimbus Cloak, I just think is so powerful. It makes it basically impossible to kill your ADC, especially for one as slippery as a Vayne after the initial engagement. As taking a peek onto the junglers there, Kakao went Raptor Camp and is now immediately invading, trying to make use of the priority that Balulu got early on to contest Raptor Camp. But Shadow, very heads up, didn't go buff to buff, instead went red into Raptors himself, so wasting a bit of Kakao's time, gets information on Kakao, sees that he doesn't have red, and is now sprinting across to contest red buff. So Shadow should actually be able to 3-buff Kakao in initial clear.
That's going to be big. Early jungle momentum has been pretty important in this series, especially for Kakao, so slowing him down at all is going to feel pretty good. Keeping our eyes on where the first ganks are going to come through, because while Ezreal Alistar certainly feels like solid picks for Kaiser and Carzzy, they do not seem like the strong duo into the bot lane that they need, as Zeitnot and Snowflower are very comfortably pushing this lane forward. Of course, level 2 coming through for Kaiser will make him a bit more of a threat onto the Vayne, but with Condemn, an available counterplay option, it is going to be difficult, as Humanoid, well, showing us kind of what we expected from this lane early on. Balulu gonna need some jungle support if he wants to push this one out, or praying for an empty mana bar from Cassio, as Rome will get a solid trade, as both top winners trading grasp procs back and forth for the most part.
It's what Balulu gives away for his jungler to succeed, especially in this matchup across from Humanoid. Again, he went for the hard push to give space to the Lilia. It didn't pay off this time around, and now he can be punished. And after Shadow's done with this crab, there is going to be an opportunity to look for a gank, so Balulu very cleverly playing towards the bot side of his lane. You can see he's hovering towards the bot side river where Kakao is now stealing away Krugs, trying to deny any opportunity that Shadow would have on a potential gank here, as it looks like Humanoid has actually frozen the wave in front of his tower.
Yeah, but for right now for Mad Lions, the only place that they really have pressure as bot lane resets is the top side of the matchup, where Orome using, you know, Ornn's naturally obnoxious kid, especially in the Sion matchup, to push for a bit more as he buys that early health crystal.
So this is big. Shadow was actually about to take his back, but the Raptor camp has been spawned. Again, it was the first camp that Kakao cleared. So we got the timer and early reset onto it. And now he could even hold head up to the Krugs. Yeah, he uses the Scryer's Bloom. He sees that the Krugs is still up. He assumes, actually, that Kakao is either on bot crab or resetting for Krug camp. You see that he actually pings it out.
Level 5 for Humanoid. Bolulu flashing forward, can just trade flashes here. This is going to be big, though. Cassio needs that flash much more.
Thank you so much, Dracos. Yeah, it is actually really weird. Not only because the gank pressure is there and the gank setup for a set, but also for Cassio to be really effective in mid lane matchups, she needs to have the flash because she plays really aggressive. She has a relatively short range with the twin fangs, and she wants to be constantly chasing you down. And without the safety of the flash, it actually takes away a lot of her offensive power in a lot of their matchups. So that should actually alleviate so much pressure from Bolulu, even though it means that there's no more gank setup for Cacao. But frankly, he's not here to gank. You know what I mean? Like, you burn the flash to give your mid laner a break, but otherwise, we are back into vacuum mode.
Vacuum mode certainly looked good for Cacao last time. He got to vacuum up a few champions as well. He will be a camp behind at this stage. Trade of Scuttlecrabs, but as mentioned before, the 3-buff start for Shadow, doing him some favors. Delaying the second blue spawn, though, will be a little bit awkward for Humanoid in the mid lane, as we do see the TP utilize topside Arome with very little mana. Means that Armut is going to have a hard time, or rather will have a hard time stopping this from being frozen, but Armut stops to clear it instead.
Actually, one of the opportunities that Arome has here is he doesn't have to use his TP. He can actually get a reset, walk back into lane, although Armut, you can see walking forward into the lane, is trying to A, delay the back, but then B, also burn the wave in front of him as quickly as possible to force the teleport. Armut, very good job, actually denies the back from Arome, but does now expose himself to a potential gank.
Yeah, Shadow moving up. Of course, relatively low mana for Arome. Level 6, though, now coming in. The setup is there. Sion, no level 6 of his own. Sidestepping is going to find the knock-up now against the wall as well, but will not get knocked up. Bit of a fumble there from Mad Lions, and Armut just walks away unscathed.
No, this is a massive fumble from Mad Lions. You don't have kill pressure there. And look at what's happening on the bot side of your map. Cacao is on the Krug camp. The red is about to spawn. He just has vision of Shadow and has all of this information and know exactly where he will be for kind of the next rotation, and now catches out Carzzy.
Flash over the wall. Carzzy going to be in trouble. Kaiser trying to disengage. They are going to connect with the Zenith Blade, though. Carzzy getting lower and lower, but they're not going to be able to push for too much more. But still, we already see Ezreal and Alistar trapped under their towers. Supermassive have a choice here. They can start the Ocean Drake, and it looks like they will.
Shadow trying to really brute force on these ganks has going to cost his team the first dragon, as well as some Carzzy's health bar. We'll see if they try to contest this one. Shadow is now down here. You can see that there is push priority from bot side. He places a ward in the back of the pit, but
Supermassive playing this one slow, though. Don't want to risk a 50-50. Lost one of those to Shadow already.
So his bot lane, Kaiser and Carzzy, managed to save the day and cover for Shadow, exposing himself up into the top side, delaying the dragon. It's still a tempo advantage, however, for Cacao here.
Still, though, checking in on mid lane. Humor has a decent advantage for himself. Bot lane relatively even in CS. Top lane even as well. The big difference, of course, Armut and Sion, obviously a lot stronger wave clear with the Decimating Smashes, a few more items come under his belt, but Ornn, one of the best, actually the best, hands down, scaling tank in the game, the ability to upgrade ally items. And Cassio, of course, not wasting time going boots, is going to be even faster to some of that itemization.
She doesn't have flash. She may be caught out here, but Armut needs to get around the corner to open up the ultimate. Humanoid, that was actually really scary. Lilia, he did have a ward onto the Raptor camp, so it has now disappeared now, but he did see that Cacao was kind of in the jungle, but you know, that's a few seconds away from not being a good time for the Cassiopeia without that flash to walk into topside river and deny Crab.
Absolutely is, and Zaina now taking over to level 6 is going to be big as well. You mentioned it, the final hour, essentially. Not quite a free BF sword, it's taken a few hits over the years, but a little bit more than a free pickaxe these days, which means Vayne very difficult to all in when she's gotten that level 6. Snowflower as well on his way. Shadow now looking to take the Herald, and for now it appears that he is uncontested. Cacao low on health and low on mana, so can't really do anything about this one, and Mad Lions going to find themselves a small victory here in a relatively even game.
Now, Snowflower and Zaitna are walking down mid lane. You can see that Bolulu is taking the reset, but he does have teleport. Shadow, like you said, should be able to get this one uncontested, and I was curious if Snowflower was actually going to show himself. Okay, nope. Snowflower and Zaitna will not show themselves. Mad Lions can make an assumption that they were walking towards Herald, but it's not like the bot lane of Supermassive loses anything. The wave was held by Carzzy as Kaiser was unlocked to support his jungler on Herald, and everyone should now return to standard map assignments.
Yep, Carzzy sitting comfortably for now, cannot reliably win the all-in here. Has to land a lot of Qs on a champion that is very, very mobile, very, very scrappy, hard to get your hands on.
And we can talk about the Vayne while we have a little bit of a moment here, as people will just continue to farm up as we prep for Dragon. Obviously, itemizing into the attack speed, Reaver's Rush first, as well as the lifesteal. You just talked about it, Dracos. Kind of gets free AD from that ultimate win in final hour. No longer the BF sword about the pickaxe you were talking about, but that does mean that you kind of get the bang for your buck. Itemizing into attack speed and getting the free AD when you are in ultimate form makes it feel really healthy for early skirmishes, and we should see that power translated into dragon control.
Yeah, continuing to bully out here on the bottom side of the map. Carzzy, of course, Ezreal's itemization feels really strong before that first back, but when you back first and you got to spend 800 gold on a tier, you are left wanting. The ulti will go just a bit wide. Honestly, a little bit closer. Maybe could have contested something, but Kakao will secure the smite and just continues to farm up. Relatively even jungle matchup. Mid lane continuing to pull ahead. Set's itemization, or rather Arome's position, looks like the cheeky proxy here, but this is a bit too cheeky because Set and Lilia are both on the way up.
Okay, now Arome can be punished here as he's about to go 1v3, but look at Humanoid in the mid lane. You're going to trade potentially Arome's life here for massive plates on the Cassiopeia.
Yes. Looks like definitely Arome's life, and Bolulu has bailed out of the play, so how many plates is he really going to sacrifice? Because that's first blood for Kakao, again starting him rolling. Bolulu not in real position to stop this one. Can just ult and pull back there. Gets a clean pull back as the ult now comes in. He's going to be in trouble. The chain CC is flawless. The Mad Lions will get themselves a better advantage at the end. Very close play overall, however.
And you can see it reflected in the gold. I'm going to say slightly worth for Mad Lions. Yeah, you gave away the first blood. Yeah, it was to Kakao. That one's not going to feel great. But it's on a low econ top laner. And now Mad Lions get the mid lane play as well as the Herald into Cassiopeia's back pocket. And almost even looking at a potential dive, although everyone wants to take the reset, so just covering, kind of sniffed around for the dive on Vayne, decide against it.
I'm not quite sure what to make of that one, but I will say this, and that's that while Bolulu is doing fine in this lane matchup, obviously he's going to lose some CS, the early Sunfire cape here is questionable. I get the wave clear, but also at a certain point, Cassio will DPS check you, and I'm hoping that if he wants to finish this Sunfire cape, that we see an adaptive helm shortly after, which just means you never really have to care about that change.
He's definitely, there's no way he finishes the Sunfire, surely.
But the thing is people have been talking about this, every time we see a set mid so far in plans, they build like Deadman Sunfire no matter what their lane matchup is. And maybe that's just a testament to Set's tankiness, and he's more worried about things like the Ezreal and the Graves, but the lane phase isn't getting any easier when you're itemizing full armor.
I mean, he's not here to lane, you know what I mean? That's the Deadman Sunfire is all about the push and the roam. He is the secondary jungler. He has a Lily.
Yes.
Your jungler's not ganking. He is the jungler.
That's a null magic mantle, and that's all I needed to see to restore a little bit of faith there, Frosco. A little bit of MR early on. Maybe it's a Spirit Visage. I love Adaptive Helm, but understand if you want that CDR instead, so keep our eyes on that moving forward. Kakao, however, again, here on the bottom side of the map, flashback to previous games where him being here early, him being here ahead of schedule, reading the play from the Mad Lions has resulted in so much for Supermassive.
Check the teleports, though. Humanoid has TP advantage over Bolulu, but Ormut has TP advantage over Arome as we look for the fight.
Fishing cannot find the Q onto Ezreal, so cannot put them to sleep, and there will not be a follow-up engage. Kakao spending a lot of time there. Ultimately won't cost him too much, but not quite the success that he found in previous games. Rome unstoppable. Will not connect on the knockup as Sion mostly focused on clearing out the wave here, one-shotting it with the decimating smash.
It actually has cost Kakao a lead that he had over Graves. Oh no. Oh, it feels good for Sion. Thanks for the leash, buddy.
Special request production, if we're getting another Mercedes play, please let it be a Sion ult. That would feel succinct branding, that's all I'm going to say. Sunflower now going in, though, hoping to find a play onto Humanoid. The ulti comes out as a knockback goes in two, and oh, Snowflower not ready for the sheer amount of damage that would come out. Kakao going to use the ultimate. Will not find any follow-up. Has to be careful when the cooldowns are back up for Kaiser. He may find himself in trouble. Shadow now stepping forward. Good damage, but Kakao will prance his way out of that one.
Oh, Kakao, that is a dangerous thing to try. You do not get to be there, buddy. Oh.
I mean, he's fast.
He's just trying to, like, steal it away. The great heist over the Raptor camp. As Arma now finds himself between a rock and a hard place. Can he flash over the wall?
Knock up there. Shadow debating where are they going to go. He can flash over the wall, but there's a blast cone there as well. Kakao just kind of watching this happen. Unstoppable now from the ult. So many flashes burned. They absolutely want this kill, but who are they going to give it to? Looks
Humanoid.
Shadow.
Is he gonna get out?
Shadow, humanoid, Armut.
No.
Knock up. Turn from Snowflower. He has no flash, right? Yeah, so he's done. That's gonna do it.
That took about 45 seconds.
Good news is this game they have magic damage, Frostburn, and a Cassio who offers sustained magic damage, so a little bit harder for Sion to just tank literally everything.
It's that Cassio is the beneficiary of the kill. 2-0 and 1 right now on Humanoid. A champion like Cassio certainly can scale hard enough to be the hard carry force they need, but not necessarily the roaming one.
Ooh, big damage coming from Zeitnot, though. And this is the thing that they have to be worried about, is that Vayne, in skirmishes, is a monster. Teamfights are a little bit hard when there's too much CC rolling around, but eventually when Zeitnot's 1-2 items, who actually side lanes against this guy? Is it Humanoid? And if then, who deals with Bolulu? Because it's going to be a tough game, I feel like, for Supermassive to actually, or for rather for Mad Lions to survive if Vayne just keeps getting to freeform.
It's a really good point, Dragos. We will keep our eyes on the lane assignments as we break out of kind of the lane phase here, but so far still all of the towers currently standing as we're fighting over Dragon, and here comes the TP.
TP coming in. Both sums up for Zeitnot. He's going to be a tough one to lock down Cacao as well, holding onto the Chilling Smite, just laying down a little bit of poke.
Big thing is that Armut does not have his ultimate yet. He's on the top side of the lane, but he cannot Scion Train Pain in here yet.
Yeah. Additionally important to remember that Kaiser's ult makes him tanky against a lot of champions, but Vayne certainly isn't one of them. That's the sleep in onto Humanoid. They're trying to follow up. They're trying to land every little bit of CC, and Humanoid's now going to be trouble. No chance to lay down the ult. It's flawless from the side of Supermassive, and now they're chasing home. Kaiser's ult means nothing to this Vayne. 1, 2, 3 going to finish the job. Silver Bolts finding their targets, and Supermassive take the skirmish.
Supermassive decimate Mad Lions right there. It's now going to be a 2-dragon stack. The next one going to be in about 21 minutes probably is when they'll next take it, which can be a really early Elder being unlocked for them. Now, look at what's happening cross-map. Yes. So, Supermassive win the fight, they then turn it on to the Dragon. Armut immediately starts walking towards the Herald, obviously going towards the top lane, but catches out Shadow, trying to take the handshake for the Rift Herald and denies it. That means that Supermassive will get a clean reset and might be able to get both the Dragon as well as the Rift Herald. A 2-for-1 special as Mad Lions are losing control of this early game.
And you can see Zeitnot, the second you start to win a fight as a Vayne, no one gets away. It's just that simple. Carzzy building for bits and pieces, hoping to get that Iceborne, hoping to slow down some of his pursuers and the fights to come. And now, the good news, if you're a Mad Lions fan, is this. Humanoid is strong. If Supermassive want to keep winning fights, they need to execute exactly like that, where they delete him before the fight even gets started. Bad news is, as they start to get further and further ahead, it does get easier and easier to pull off.
Does mean that Humanoid is already positioned and picking up waves on top side, has priority there, so he can be the first one to move down for this Herald, as we talked about it being the big objective. And check out where Zeitnot's positioning is. He's got the completed Bork as well as a pickaxe in his back pocket, but he's walking bottom. This should mean that as soon as they see Zeitnot appear on this wave bot side, that will give the go-ahead for Mad Lions to pull the trigger on the Herald, and there we go.
Pretty late Herald as well. It's going to have until about 21 minutes, so can do a little bit of work with it. Potentially could try to get it to force a decision out of Supermassive about what they want to keep alive. It
does mean, though, that they're probably just going to trade tower for tower here. Like, you pick up Herald, maybe use it mid lane to push that one down, as well as top tower going down, but you can see Zeitnot and Snowflower, like, they'll trade Herald, especially when it's not giving plate gold, to pick up more solo EXP and gold for the Vayne.
Wow. It looks like potentially Ginsu's second is usually the path that we see with this build, trying to maximize those on-hit damage effects. Makes her incredible at shredding tanks. A little bit less upfront damage for some of the other members, but that would be, it's that or IE, so I think it's a pretty safe bet on the Ginsus.
Oh, Mad Lions are so far behind the play.
Rome going to try to cheat some tempo back by deleting this wave, but sadly it might cost him his life as he's now burned his Unstoppable. Will dash out to safety.
Mad Lions are running here because they want to try to see if they can pick up Supermassive, but with Rome having used the ultimate, there's no chase pressure here. Shadow needs to walk mid and place down Herald. Dragon's going to be spawning in 2:30, so it would only be to take down the mid lane tower. But at least Humanoid, I guess, has a wave that he can potentially farm and push all the way back. He should get 3 waves before he hits that bot lane tower.
Oof.
But this is what I mean by being behind the play. Supermassive, you know, they've already got the swap first. They now trade both bot lane tower for top lane tower, and now top lane tower for Herald bot side, not mid. So Mad Lions still about 20, 30 seconds behind these structural trades across map.
And one of the big things is if you ever leave Sion uncontested, he'll just ult that tower and do basically what this Rift Herald does here, which is essentially one-shot it. Now, Humanoid is, of course, going to continue to get more and more solo gold. Mad have clearly identified the man that they want to carry. And after 5 bans, it's a damn good thing to see that he can still put up a solid performance, but still, Mad Lions on the back foot. It's not a massive gold difference. The bigger issue is the Dragon slowly stacking in the favor of Supermassive. Bolulu going to feel fine in this matchup now as the Adaptive Helm is finished, even if he is maybe a bit weaker against the other AD sources of the Mad Lions.
He's literally just a speed bump to Cassiopeia. Now, one of the big things, though, is that while the Herald does kind of just even out towers across map for both teams, Humanoid has been picking up so much experience. He's currently the highest level in the game, tied with Arma on the Scion. And like you said, this does feel like a 1v9 Humanoid type of situation. On the other side, Supermassive, very powerful for their itemizations. Zeitnot went for the pickaxe. He now has the recurve bow. So like you said, going for the Rage Blade. Doesn't have the Book of Worthlessness yet in that build path. But if they can funnel in gold, get a good reset for Zeitnot so he can get his Rage Blade and then show up for this dragon fight, you know, that Elder Soul Dragon stack is looking really good for Supermassive and how powerful Vayne is.
And the other big thing is that normally Vayne stacking Ginsus at the start of a fight is always a bit of a pain. But if you're the one at this point, up to Drake point, if you're the one who gets the vision down first, you auto that Drake 4 or 5 times, you're primed and ready to go. And the second Ginsus is online, it's just so much damage. And Arome, Kaiser, it doesn't matter what tanky stat you build, she's going to kill you in 6 autos, and 6 autos is going to happen very quickly with double attack speed items.
It's kind of the question if Supermassive can stall it long enough to get Zeitnot to the item. I can't ping over to his gold, so I can't see how close or how far away he is, but the teams are starting to gear up for this Drake spawning in 14 seconds. Mid lane priority to Mad Lions, Humanoid, of course, with the blue buff, and they will get first access, but look at Bolulu. He's underneath them.
2 members locked up, but already we have a
he can get Cassiopeia
coming out. Bolulu trying to find something. He's going to be dunking back. Now Cassio kicked off in the middle of the fight, but that's going to be a 3-man ultimate, and immediately the fall for more than 3-man knockup. Humanoid burning, ticking, but he's got the Conqueror proc, and he's trying to run him down. Eyes on Zeitnot, though, as they're going to find one. Kakao getting a kill. Humanoid trying his little heart out, but it is simply not enough. But Carzzy will grab another kill back. Not the only carry threat on this team. Carzzy will strike back, but it is still Supermassive coming out on top. They will grab themselves the Infernal.
And Bolulu just dunked on Mad Lions right there, Mad. They thought that they had done the entire checklist. Have mid lane priority. We can now walk safely into the dragon, but they didn't check behind them. They had a single shallow control ward right on top of the red buff, so they do not see the set until it is too late. He snags Humanoid, and while Humanoid delays it with a nice ultimate, immediately deletes the snake.
And it's brutal, because you can see how difficult these fights are. Because yes, the second that Cassio cannot deal consistent sustained damage, you've got to worry about Kakao. You've got to worry about Zeitnot. Bolulu generating so much space for both of these champions to do exactly what they need to do. And as we look back at this one, it's the flank that you talked about from the side here, the set coming in, the one you have to watch, as Humanoid is dunked down, a solid Ornn follow-up, but the members are just simply too tanky. They don't hit Zeitnot, they don't hit Kakao, and that means that both those ults ultimately not what the team needed, even if Carzzy gets a flashy kill back.
And that Adaptive Helm just doing work for Bolulu. The fact that he eats the Cassiopeia ultimate, multiple iterations of the Twin Fang, and still is able to walk out of the fight with his W, and then didn't even have to TP back in. He still got to save the cooldown.
To be fair to Vayne, the only reason Carzzy hits that Q, I'm reasonably certain, we'd have to run it back in a theoretical example, is because he accidentally autos the Scryer's Bloom and stuns himself for 1/10 of a second, so it will connect. So that could have been even worse, but it does mean that Carzzy now has, the Fist, and he's got the fully stacked Muramana as well, so we can start to poke from range, hoping to stop Zeitnot from finding a way forward.
A-click strikes again.
They do. Oof. Zeitnot, though, taking a decent chunk there. Still have to respect the Ezreal. Obviously, in sustained damage, Vayne's going to be unmatched, but in the burst, Ezreal can still pack a punch.
Now, this is one of the issues, though, is that now Supermassive need to figure out how they want to break towers, because they are still dealing with a relatively short-range ADC like a Vayne, not something long-range that can step back and chip it away. So you see that Mad Lions can slow down when Supermassive just ARAM stack mid and try to force the tower. And meanwhile, then that allows Humanoid so much time to continue to pick up waves and experience in a side lane. And the lane assignments can't really punish him unless they bring multiple members to deal with it. Like, Bolulu theoretically shouldn't die in that matchup, but he certainly can't stop Humanoid.
And there's a few things that are going to be very difficult for them. It's just that, one, Zeitnot is just continuing to get stronger and stronger, right? Kakao is also terrifying. He can constantly fish with these swirl seeds. The other big issue, Ornn almost level 14. He can start to look to upgrade his allies' items. Right now, he's got an Iceborne Gauntlet. He can upgrade a Cleaver. Those are it. That's your options. Those items suck. Fun fact.
I was waiting for it. I was like
Obsidian Cleaver is solid, right? Maybe it's not your ideal choice, but it's solid. But the Iceborne Gauntlet, it's okay for Ezreal because the extra mana means extra damage on the Muramana, but like, come on, you want that Blade of the Rune King, maybe? You're looking for that death cap. And from the way Humanoid is building, he knows he needs Magic Pen, which means he is not getting an upgrade in the next 10 minutes.
It's not the most value of ornaments that I've ever seen, but you take those, I guess.
Yeah.
Again, reading map state, we're going to keep rolling Swirl Seeds down this mid lane, fishing for what you got, but Supermassive, because there's no monster objective to play through, it would be too risky to go for the Baron. They can play for the Infernal Soul in 2 minutes. They just want a 5-man stack in this mid lane, try to find Mad out of position like Shadow, and break mid lane tower.
Knock back. Interesting trade, though. Ultimately, just spending Scion, not getting a lot there. Flashes right around the corner for Carzzy, Arome, and Humanoid. With all those flashes up and available, much harder for a player like Bolulu to find a flank, especially when he, well, right about the same time, will have his own flashback.
And while that's Supermassive strategy, the strategy for Mad Lions has been to stall out. And they've done so very successfully in 2 different attempts to knock down mid-tower, and again, getting more space and time for Humanoid. Still level 15, still matched with Armad as the highest level into the game, now passed over to the blue buff. Like, Mad Lions are gearing up for this Infernal fight. But they need to do their due diligence, get down deeper wards behind them, and keep Humanoid safe, fight slowly front to back through the beef line of Supermassive.
And this is where you start to remind yourself that this team is very young. Yes, Humanoid has experience on the world stage, but he's the only one. On the opposite side, we've got Cacao. We've got Snowflower. Hell, Zeitnot has a ton of his own. So these guys are veterans, and when it comes down to these high-pressure, high-stakes moments in what could be the final game for Mad Lions, Supermassive have been the team that are staying confident, staying calm, staying controlled, and that's why they are at match point.
And always punishing Mad Lions in the Vision games. The control wards have just gone down. I want to point out the 2 control wards underneath the Dragon Pit. Balulu actually pressed one down as we race back into mid lane, but there are options to get someone underneath. Arma is resetting his position. He does have teleport. He could TP to one of these wards. Instead, going to go ahead and walk with his team is Mad Lions. They've sent down Arome to check out underneath and behind everything. He found maybe one of the control wards. Yeah, it's been spotted out. And they're just trying to really clear everything out and set this one up perfectly, because this Infernal Soul might mean the end of their 2020 season.
It might, especially with Bolulu on the flank now, hovering down towards the bottom side. They'll see him. Doesn't mean they can remove him too easily. Carzzy has to be careful.
He's gotten caught out. They could kill him. But they can't overcommit, because then his team just takes the dragon in response or even rushes towards Baron.
The thing is, he also has Deadmans. So the further down they go, the more easy it is for them to just walk back up to mid, take mid prio, look at the Baron, potentially threaten. Now, you don't want to be caught in a pit against an Ornn and an Ezreal, but...
And now you're just making the very rookie team that you were talking about, Dracos, make really hard decisions. Are they going to fight for the mid priority, or are they going to try to chase down Bolulu? Are they going to try to fight the team? And this is when Mad Lions have been caught out, and the TCL Supermassive have been able to out-skirmish them. Supermassive now have their priority on the pit, possibly looking for the fight here. Armand does have ultimate as well as flash.
And you can see Zeitnot stacking it up. This is the Ginsu stack. Has to keep it just going, but can also just shred through this objective. They don't want to risk a 50-50, but maybe they risk it anyway. Armand now stepping forward, trying to find Humanoid on the backside, but he can't quite do it. The lockup is there. The Ornn now trying to find it down, but that's a suplex, and it is not on Humanoid. Humanoid trying to shred through, but Armand just a little bit too tanky. The stun goes in. Carzzy manages to take down Zeitnot. Carzzy, playing like a man possessed, gets everything he needs in that fight. That is the double kill, and now Humanoid is out for vengeance. He's out of blood. He says, you got 5 bans, might not be enough. 6 is what you're gonna need, as Humanoid pushes back the remaining members of Supermassive as Mad Lions hold on for now, taking away the Infernal Drake.
Very tense situation for the Mad Lions, but they hold strong. They make the correct choice. Humanoid gets the reset. He TPs back to the mid lane tower, and they manage to play the fight slow, front to back. Carzzy finding the assassination on Zeitnot means that Mad Lions have denied the soul and now have position on Baron.
Death timers, they don't have enough. Bolulu too far away. The TPs aren't going to be there. Mad Lions take away the Infernal. They deny the soul for at least 5 more minutes. They grab a Baron for themselves. Fights are still going to be difficult, but the advantage is now in their favor. They could take it to Game 5.
Now that said, while that was a huge swing of confidence back in favor for Mad Lions, they still are not afforded any more mistakes here, because they're still looking down the barrel of a potential soul point. An excellent team fight here. Great job from Arome on opening up the Ornn ultimate, as well as finding Vayne with the knock up there to allow Carzzy to just line him up and shoot him down.
You can see all of Mad Lions popping off in that moment, knowing that Messing that play up would have probably been the end of their Worlds run. And that little blue line
is EU's hope.
Is the glimmer of hope for EU and for the Mad Lions.
That is the pulse.
Will they be the first team eliminated from EU in play-ins? Will the TCL finally beat a major region team on their path to the group stage? That's something we're going to have to keep our eyes on.
But look at Balulu here. The observers have done a good job showing that this is a very deep reach around. But Arma could lead the charge. Balulu's pulling the trigger right now. Mad Lions should have spotted him out. That's why Shadow's kind of hiding under, trying to find this set. We are seconds away from Supermassive pulling the trigger. Here they go.
They have to try to stop Balulu, but he's so fast. Oh, they blinded him. The smoke screen was perfect, and now he's caught out and knocked down. The re-engage now coming in. Mad Lions smell blood in the water. They're ready to get this going. Supermassive burning a lot there. Balulu getting taken down means priority access to the mid lane. Looks like top lane will fall as well. Will it just be tier 2s, or can Mad Lions break open the base of Supermassive?
No more hero play for Balulu that time around in the engagement. Just absolutely stuffed as he walks up to the back of Mad Lions, gets slapped in the face with Cassiopeia ultimate. Big Baron power play, 2 towers that you were just talking about, multiple waves starting to open this gold lead back up for Mad. And again, most importantly, those big core itemizations on Cassio. When she backs, she's going to be massive.
Will be big. Oh, the slow siege coming in. Carzzy playing very far forward, but no, he has the luxury to do so. Range on this composition for Supermassive is quite low. If they get a good engage, obviously it's always going to look solid, but if they can't, Carzzy can just stand at arm's length, knowing that Humanoid's disengage potential, alongside an Ornn, alongside an Alistar, will be more than enough to stop their backline from being contested whatsoever. Arma just being pushed back. Zeitnot now stepping forward, though, but suddenly Snowflower into the backline. Kakao trying to find an opportunity, but he can't quite get it done. In the meantime, Snowflower just getting shredded through. Arma next on the list, and a fantastic ult coming in, but Balulu, big haymaker on the backside. However, Vayne not going to be enough. Cut down there, and Mad Lions looking to end it here. They want to take it straight to Silver Scrapes. They do not want to give Supermassive any more chances for that Infernal Soul. It is calm, it is controlled, it is collected. They outrange and outthink Supermassive in the final moments of this game. Kakao will get nothing done. That is the ace, and that will be the game. Mad Lions scraping their way back into this one after a few clean fights from Supermassive, and they will take us to a Game 5. Loser will be eliminated from Worlds 2020.
Can't ban him out. They threw everything and the kitchen sink at Humanoid's champion pool. He pulls out the Cassiopeia, he has the anti-dive power, and the composition didn't have enough dive tools to shut him down. Mad Lions kept their cool under pressure, denied the soul, slow front-to-back team fight, and managed to pull us into Game 5. Now, both teams have seen the blueprint. Both teams understand what is successful for them.